In this video, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of the electronic reselling business. And even though I like this business, I just picked up $5,000 in cash from my direct buyer. I picked up $15,000 in cash from him so far this week, which is very nice. There are some downsides to this business and some issues, and we're going to discuss those in this video. Let's go ahead and get into it. The pros. There are a few pros, and the main ones are you don't need a lot of money to get started in this business. You can do this business working part-time hours, and there's not a lot of risk in this business. When I got started in this business, I had about $200. That's what I started with. I had around $200, and in about a year and a half, I was able to flip that money, consistently buying items, selling them, buying them, and selling them. About a year and a half, I had around $100,000 in my checking account, and I believe I even paid off about $12,000 in debt, and of course that was after I paid taxes. So $200 to about $100,000 in about a year and a half. You can get started with very little money. I also started this business while I had my job. I was very risk adverse. I didn't just want to quit my job and go all in with this. While I had the steady, consistent paycheck from my business, I was able to do the electronic resell, this business on the side. And then once my income got a whole lot higher than my job and it stayed there for a while, then I decided to quit my job and go all in with this, and then do this business as like my full-time thing. And the second thing, and the final thing, is the risk adverse side. Because we're buying items here and we're selling them for, if we see an iPad is selling between $150 and $170 and we buy it for 60 bucks, it's going to sell for 150, 160, 170-ish. Is it going to sell for 155? Maybe. 150, 145 at the lowest? Yes, but we're still making money if we bought it at 60 bucks. So it's very hard to lose money. In fact, if you follow a simple process, which of course Chris teaches in his program, or I know there's some people that watch this video that have bought my program before and they already know this process. I don't have a program anymore, but you guys understand, whatever. It's virtually impossible to lose money because we're buying it for here, we're selling it to here. We're buying it for here, we're selling it to here. You just follow that process over and over again. Contrast this with the traditional business. You want to start a restaurant. You might need $500,000. You might be mortgaging the house, might be taking out a loan. You might have to put $500,000 into starting that restaurant. Probably not going to be able to do that while you have your job. Probably going to have to quit your job and put 70 hours a week into the restaurant. Will it be successful? It could be, but could you also lose all that money and be in debt and 3 years has gone by? Yeah. So the benefit to this business is you don't need a lot of money to get started. You can do this while you have your full-time job. And if you're risk adverse like me, if you follow a simple process, a simple formula, which I know a lot of you guys watching this know and understand, because you've already gone through some training, you'll be able to, you're going to make money. That's how it's going to work. You're going to be able to continue to stack the money. What are some other pros? The other pros is you can make good money while working part-time hours. Now, when I had my job and I was doing the business, I had no free time because I was working my job, which was about 40 hours a week, and then driving to and from work. And I think it was like guaranteed, we had to take a lunch break. I don't think we got paid for it. So I was probably spending 45, 50 hours a week, probably total with everything for work. And then I spent all my other time doing this business. This was the main focus. Once I finally quit my job, which was very hard for me to do, but once I finally said, okay, I'm making all this money, I'm consistently making a whole lot more doing this than I am at my job. I quit my job, all this free time freed up. I was spending 30, 35-ish hours a week on this business, maybe even a little bit, probably around 30, 35 hours just a week, making $100,000 plus a year in this business. And now I probably I moved to a new city, so I didn't get any of the repeat business, right? And I've been in this new city now for about 10 months. I started in this new city about 10 months ago. I'm almost at $3,000 in profit for the week. So I'm probably floating between $10,000 to $14,000 a month in profit. One of my top students that I talked to, and he might be at a higher dollar amount now, he does between $13,000 to $15,000 a month in profit. One of the guys, RJ, who actually bought my old program, who's we're very close to each other. We're definitely friendly with each other. We're friends. I mean, we never hang out, but we share, we talk about stuff. We're totally cool. We talk on the phone, totally legit. He lives about 20, 25 minutes from me. He's had multiple months this year. He's done $14,000 a month in profit. So you can definitely make 150, upwards of $200,000 a year in profit in this business, working 30, 35, 40 hours a week. You can make good money, full-time income, if not a little bit more, working part-time hours. No boss, no one telling you what to do. You work when you want to work. You have complete freedom and you are in control. I started dating this chick, and about a month and a half later, we decided to go to Zion National Park. I didn't have to ask my boss if I could take off time. I didn't have to say, oh, I only got these many vacation days or whatever you get like I didn't have to do anything like that. I said, sounds good. And I think she said, when do you want to go? I said, how about a couple weeks? She had to ask time off for her job. She had a job, totally fine. She got the time off and we went. And I remember in St. Louis, I went to visit my family, and I was going to, I went to visit my family. I was going to stay for a week, and there was a reason for me to stay an extra day. So I just stayed an extra day. I changed the flights for the next day. I actually booked another Airbnb, and I stayed an extra day longer in St. Louis. I didn't have to ask my boss if I could do it, none of that crap. So it is definitely nice having the freedom, being able to start with little money, being able to do this part-time. If you're risk adverse like me, if you have the right formula, you're almost guaranteed to make profit, and then being able to transition to do this full-time in a very smooth way where while you're still learning the skill sets of this business, you still have that steady paycheck from your job before you quit. And then you get to the point and you're working 30, 40 hours a week and probably making a lot more than you were at your job before. At least that's how it was for me. It's very nice. It's a very comfortable lifestyle. It's also, there's not a lot of changes that happen. Once you get the skill sets down, you'll always be able to do this. I'll always be able to make 100, 200 grand a year doing this business. I have the skill sets. It's rinse and repeat. This business isn't going anywhere. Over 1 billion smartphones or cell phones, whatever. They're sold every single year. People are going to continue to buy and sell their cell phones, their iPads, their electronics, their high-end gaming systems, their smartwatches. I don't know if I said smartwatches before. Their Oculus Quest, their high-end digital cameras. That's always going to be a thing. So if you like stability like me, you're in the right place. Now, what's the pros? Or now, what's the cons? The big cons are two of them. One is this business is not really a business. It's really a side hustle. It is a grind. You're on the left side of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, on the bottom left in the self-employed quadrant. You're not an employee, but you are self-employed. It's not really a business. And the reason it's not a business is it consistently requires you to trade your time for money. Now, you're generally making more money and trading less time than a job, so it's definitely better than a job, but you're never going to be at the point in this business where, you know, you have 500 locations and 3,000 employees and you're making $1 gazillion. It requires you to, you're always putting in time. Now, you could transition the business. There are people that will transition and they'll get a physical storefront and they'll do cell phone repair and they'll hire someone to buy items. David Kosciuszko had that. He had 3 storefronts. When I got started, they were all pretty automated. He was making about $10,000 a month profit from the storefronts. He had a manager at each one. But as far as, so you could definitely start at one level and then transition, but it's not like it's a big transition. Getting a storefront, signing a lease, hiring employees, training employees, knowing the correct way to fire them, paying them, preventing employee theft. It's still in the same realm as this business, but it's definitely a different look and a different structure. You could potentially become a direct buyer as well. But I don't know any like direct buyers in the United States that are massively big, because it's a lot more competitive than it was for direct buyers before. If there's any direct buyers watching this, you know 5 years ago there was like a few direct buyers and now everybody's a direct buyer, right? So the downside is you're always going to be generally grinding and trading time for money. And it's also hard to, it would be very challenging and hard to get this to where you're making like millions of dollars a year in profit. That's probably not going to happen in this business. I'm very well connected in this business, and I could be wrong, but I don't know anyone that started flipping electronics and now they own 500 locations all across the United States, and they're making, you know, $5 million a year. I just don't know that. Now, that doesn't mean it's not possible. Someone watching this, they could be the first person to do that potentially. I don't know if that's possible to do or not. But it's definitely a lot, it would be harder to do because we don't see people doing that, right? And we can see from that. So we could compare this to, like, if we just make it simple, we could compare this to like real estate. It's very common. You see someone, they get started in real estate. They do it where they're buying apartment complexes or they're building units, whatever it is, or they're doing storage units, something in real estate, and they keep growing. Now, some people, they just do it for a few years or 10 years and then they just kind of cruise. But there's some people, they are consistently grinding and growing. They do real estate. They're always pushing. And then they're like a Grant Cardone that was like 33 when it bought his first 32, 33, whatever, when he bought his first multifamily, and now he's got like 4.5 billion under management, and you know, he's got a private jet and he's printing all sorts of cash. Probably not going to get to that sort of income in this business. Probably not going to get anywhere close to that. Alex Hormozi, when he talks about opportunities, he probably would not consider the electronic reselling business a level 10 opportunity. He might not even consider it a level 6 opportunity. But one of the benefits of this business and why I still like it, and if someone said, Aaron, you know, my goal is to eventually make $10 million a year, have a net worth of $100 million. If that person has a job, I still recommend this business, but I recommend it more as like a middle ground. You get started in this business, you do it for 6 months to a year. Now, let's say you're making 2 to 3 times what you were at your job and you're actually working less hours. Now you have more time and more resources that you could put into learning and doing the other business that might take more time to grow, but has a lot higher ROI on the back end. The other final big benefit about this business that we didn't really touch on is you can start making money right away. My first week, while having a job, while only having about $200, I made about $500 in profit. If you get started in real estate and multifamily, you're probably not going to make $500 profit your first week. Probably not going to make that in 6 months, but it's got that kind of potential. 10, 20 years down the road, you could be making a lot of money. So those are the pros, those are the cons of the electronic reselling business. Don't want to sugarcoat it, wanting to give you everything so you can make the decision if this is something you want to move forward with.